Hi everyone, my name is Emanuele Perra and the title of my presentation is Data-Driven Cardiovascular Assist Devices Towards Patient-Specific Tuning of a Hybrid Cardiovascular Simulator. Cardiovascular diseases are the leading cause of death globally, accounting for almost 17.9 million deaths every year, causing a heavy burden on the healthcare system. That's why researchers have been motivated into exploring how computational modeling and hybrid testing of cardiac assist devices can help improving people's lives. An example of a cardiac assist device is a total artificial heart, which is a mechanical device surgically implanted to replace a failing human heart, serving as a bridge to heart transplantation or as a destination therapy. It's composed by two pumps, one replacing the function of the right heart, which aids the pulmonary circulation, and the other one replacing the functions of the left heart, which aids the systemic circulation. Such devices are usually tested in hybrid mock loops, which are platforms that allow for real-time testing of cardiovascular assist devices through a combination of physical components and computer-generated simulations. A hybrid mock loop usually consists of 4 pressure-controlled reservoirs, in which the pressure in the fluid is regulated by adjusting the air pressure in the air cavity. The device under test, in this case the total artificial heart, is placed in series with the pressure control reservoirs, each chamber representing the physiological pressure to be applied at each inlet and outlet of the total artificial heart. The operation and the functioning of the physical part, represented by the hydraulic components and the device under test, is controlled by a computer on which a numerical simulation of the cardiovascular system of a specific patient is running simultaneously. The picture below shows an example of a setup of a hybrid mock loop, in which the device under test is placed in series together with the pressure-controlled tanks. The flows generated by the left and the right pump are constantly measured by flow sensors, and the measured flows are fed as input to the cardiovascular model, which simulates the physiological pressures to be applied in the respective chambers. The video on the left-hand side shows how the total artificial heart interacts with the mock loop, and the video on the right-hand side represents the physiological variables simultaneously simulated by the cardiovascular model. The total artificial heart can be adjusted to vary in pumping rates and stroke lengths, allowing it to match the patient's metabolic requirements. For example, by adjusting the pumping speed of the total artificial heart, one is able to control the magnitude of the flow ejected by the left ventricle. More in general, different levels of cardiac output can be obtained by adjusting the stroke length and the heart rate. For reference, 5 liters per minute represents the cardiac output generated at rest conditions, and the total artificial heart is able to provide a cardiac output as high as 7.5 liters per minute, which can represent a moderate exercise condition state. Different patients have different physiological needs. In fact, differences in body size can exhibit very high differences in physiological demands, even at rest state. Cardiovascular models are most often generic and do not take into account intra-patient variability. This is why patient-specific approaches are needed in order to provide personalized treatment strategies. The idea is to collect a number of physiological variables from a patient, such as heart rate, pressure, blood flow, and so on, and to use these very same physiological variables to tune the parameters of the cardiovascular model in order to generate a model that is representative of a specific patient. The physiological variables of a patient recorded during a medical assessment are treated as target variables that have to be matched in the cardiovascular model. During the automatic tuning phase, some key parameters such as contraction strength of the heart and the elasticity of the vessels are tuned in order to match the systolic and diastolic arterial pressure or the systemic and pulmonary vascular resistance. Once the model is tuned, the cardiovascular model of the specific patient can be used for further assessment. The tuned cardiovascular model can then be used to explore different clinical scenarios. It can be used to investigate the interaction between a medical device and the patient, or to support the diagnosis of a medical condition. It can also be used to simulate the implantation of different devices and different kinds of interventions, or to assess the effect of medication on the patient's hemodynamics. In conclusion, patient-specific hybrid modeling for medical device operation and design enable tailored treatment. In fact, different patients have different physiological needs, hence, each patient requires a specific treatment. They enable safety in order to minimize complications such as blood clots, bleeding, and organ dysfunctions. And overall, they improve patient outcome by increasing the chance of full recovery. I would like to thank the team members, the collaborators, and the funders who have financially supported this project. Thank you for your attention.